Howdy y'all, this is Maverick Gaming 1985, and we are back with some more Ultimate General Civil War. And yeah, we're gonna get in here and have a bit of fun, and also gonna try to make this educational. You know, we're gonna talk about some things and stuff like that, and different tactics and strategies used. So let's go ahead and hop in here. I believe we were doing the Battle of Fredericksburg last time. Or I was going to do the Battle of Fredericksburg last time. And I tried to do this recording last night, but my computer didn't want to cooperate with me, so I figured, you know what, let's go ahead and make this and see what happens here. So hopefully my computer cooperates tonight. Been a long day. So anyway, let's go ahead and jump in here. As you can see, we're going to be playing the Battle of Fredericksburg, and we're going to be playing on the Confederate side, and we're going to be doing Colonel. And so let's get in here and see what happens. See how intense this battle can get. Okay, so this is kind of a summary of what the battle was about and who the generals involved were. For the Union, it was Major General Ambrose Burnside. He was the new commander, as it says right here. And his plan is bold but executed very slowly. He decided to cross the river at Fredericksburg, but the arrival of the required pontoon bridges is delayed, giving Lee, General Robert Edward Lee, precious time to reinforce the area. While the Union engineers tried to build the bridges, they are continuously harassed by Confederate sharpshooters. Basically snipers. Is basically what they are. Delaying the Union army even more. After many days, on the 11th December 1862, the Union Army is finally able to cross the Rappahannock River. The Rappahannock, which is this river right here. This is the Rappahannock River. On the other side, the whole Confederate Army of Northern Virginia awaits entrenched, occupying the heights south of the town. That over there. Okay, as you can see, we start off with one corps, one division, 4 brigades, for a total of 1,998 soldiers. The Union, however, started off with 1 corps, 2 divisions, 11 brigades, 8,892 soldiers, and 21 field guns. It'll be 21 howitzers. So, we're going to click play here. The Army of the Potomac is preparing to cross the Rappahannock River at Fredericksburg. We destroyed all existing bridges, but the Federals are moving pontoon bridges into place, which will allow them to cross the river at several locations at once. We are delaying their engineers with our snipers, but they are progressing and will soon complete 2 bridges at this intersection, or at this section. Sorry, words are hard today. A few hundred meters away, they construct another bridge. 3 bridges have been built downstream to the southeast that will allow us to control the area south of town. The main attack is expected from this side. Prospect Hill is heavily defended by Stonewall Jackson's entire 2nd Corps. This high ground controls our communications and railroad supplies. Railroad supply lines to Richmond. This hill will be primary. Oh goodness, words are hard. Reading is hard. This hill will be a primary objective of the Union Army. A vital objective too. The divisions of Pickett and Hood are defending this hill that secures the interior lines along the Telegraph Road. The ground is very rugged and would complicate a Union attack along this front. Marty's Heights overlooks the town. General Longstreet has prepared entrenched positions that can resist any Union assault. They would have to be desperate to attack us here, which they did. They attacked all across here and got slowed down by this little stream right through here, which has about a 6-foot trench that goes through there. The stone wall south of town is a formidable defensive position behind which we can stop Union infantry from advancing further. Okay, our snipers are harassing the Yankee engineers who are working day and night to finish the pontoon bridges. Enemy infantry advances. They are determined to secure the town. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this main brigade of Barksdale and advance them to there. Then I'm going to tell them to hold the line right there. And then I'm going to bring these guys in at kind of an angle like this. And also have them hold the line once they get into position. Okay. Now the Union is going to be sending down a regiment, or a brigade rather, down here. It's going to be Hall, I believe. I'm sure the commander is going to be of the brigade that comes down here, and it's going to have like 1,300 men, I think. Yeah, General Hall. As you can tell, I've played this mission a few times. So, alright, I want to move you guys in a little bit closer, but I don't want to get you guys out in the open where you take heavy casualties. Okay, cover is good. Okay, you guys have good cover. Okay. Yeah, they got good cover in the buildings and stuff. Okay, he has 1,903 men. Come on, fire again. And they're routing. 1845. Okay, now Barksdale and these four skirmish regiments or companies, whatever, brigades, anyway. These guys were actually supposed to hold the city of Fredericksburg for an hour, 2 hours, maybe 3 hours at most. You know, just long enough to give the Confederate Army time to finish up some last-minute entrenchments, and then they were also supposed to withdraw to the Confederate positions south of town, or back up behind town here on Maury's Heights. Well, they ended up holding for pretty much the entire day, allowing Lee time to reinforce his lines for a whole day. And so, because of that, it allowed him to, you know, fortify his positions strongly, or stronger than they were. And so there was actually quite a few things that happened during the Battle of Fredericksburg that kind of, speaking for the Confederacy, that kind of threw a monkey wrench into the Union plans, into Burnside's plans. Because his Grand Left Division was supposed to have crossed the bridges and attacked Jackson's positions, but when they crossed the river, they were being fired on by Confederate artillery. But this Confederate artillery only had one piece of artillery that was firing on the Union lines and delayed them for probably a good 4 hours. This one gun out in the middle of this field was you know, delayed substantially by one gun. And so, you know, because of that, that also allowed Longstreet, or not Longstreet, but Jackson, time to fortify and move his troops into position as well. Not just, you know, not just Lee on Maury's Heights. And so, you know, with all of this being all done, you know, it threw a huge monkey wrench into Burnside's plan, which his plan was to turn Jackson's lines, trap Longstreet and Lee on top of the Maury's Heights, and basically cut the Union, or the Confederate Army, in half and force a Confederate surrender to the Union Army. But they underestimated General Stonewall Jackson. They underestimated the Confederate cause, and they underestimated the Confederate will to see that cause through. And so, because of that, you know, they didn't, you know, they were unable to turn Jackson's lines on his Grand Right Division. On the Union Grand Right Division, was unable to complete their objective. And so, and it was interesting because Longstreet was a Confederate commander that Lee spoke to during the battle and said, General Longstreet, they keep throwing fresh troops at your corps, at your troops. And to which Longstreet replied, just give me plenty of ammunition and I'll kill them all before they reach my line. And Lee responded to that by saying, nevertheless, we should be prudent, General. Never expect the unknown, or never underestimate the unknown or the unpredictable. And so, you know, they were never able, and so, because because Lee said that, you know, Lee did in fact go ahead and reinforce his lines, and by doing so was able to turn the tide, or was able to, you know, follow Lee's advice and Lee's orders and reinforce his lines. And so, but anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about what's going on here. We have Owen here, who's getting just ripped to shreds. We have, Hall abandoned the attack down here. That's interesting. So does that mean that there's not going to be it? Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll move this brigade and move these guys up like this. Because I want to keep at least one of these skirmisher regiments down here, just in case somebody does try to cross. I have at least somebody there that can, you know, stand against them. I don't think there's anybody there. I don't see anybody coming down that way. Alright. Oh, nicely done. I'm not sure you guys want to head that way. You're heading right for the main Confederate lines. You guys are gonna be trapped. Yeah, we'll go ahead and finish it there. As you can see, we were able to hold the objective, which was the city of Fredericksburg, or what was known as the city of Fredericksburg. So we'll go ahead and click that. Then we get to go over and command Jackson's lines, Jackson and Stewart. Okay, so the Left Grand Division, commanded by Major General William B. Franklin and consisting of 2 full corps, is ready to advance nearly 45,000 soldiers march against us. Concentrate most of your forces to protect Prospect Hill. Stuart's cavalry shields our right and should be used defensively. As you can see, they don't really say much about that. So, alright, so I'm going to take these guys. I'm surprised that worked. And I'm going to move these guys down here because the Union likes, their main attack is going to be this corner right here. Their main attack is going to be this corner. No. Dang it. Alright, go ahead and have you guys double quick up there. Okay. See, as you can see, we got some divisions already marching towards us. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring these 4 corps, or these 4 brigades rather. Go ahead and have them come up to here. Okay, just kind of looking at the numbers here. Okay. Now these troops, each regiment, like this regiment can shoot over here and over here without having to move. It's called firing at the oblique. Okay, now I have, here we go. Go ahead and bring you guys around like that. Okay. Go ahead and have you guys fill in here. Okay, now, last time I left you guys out there and you got attacked, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys back. Always try to protect your artillery, because artillery in a standing battle, you know, artillery can mean the difference between victory versus defeat. And so, with that being said, you know, that it's very important to protect your artillery. Very important, because like I said, artillery, having artillery and not having artillery, you know, can mean the difference between defeat versus victory. And cavalry, you know, cavalry is kind of, cavalry was not used much in fights. They did fight, but they weren't necessarily a fighting force. Okay? They fought, yes, but like I say, they weren't really a fighting force per se, because cavalry was a scouting force. They were a fast-moving, shock and awe kind of a force. You know, they attacked quickly and very, you know, very rapidly. And so, wait a minute, these guys should be in the trees here. And so, you know, cavalry was used as a scouting force as well as a raiding force. And they were used, depending on the commander, you know, they were used very, very wisely. But like I say, that depended on their commander. Because if they had the right commander, they were absolutely lethal when it came to, you know, when it came to fighting. Where are you guys going? But they were used primarily as a, you know, as like I say, as a scouting force, not a, you know, not a combat force, not like the cavalry is today, more or less. You know, the cavalry is a combat force now, more or less, because of, you know, because of our technology. You know, what we have for the cavalry now versus what they had for the cavalry back then. And so, because of that, they are more of a combat force now. Not, you know, back when they had horses and a musket and that's it, you know, things were a little different. You know, they really were. Things were a little different because, you know, cavalry was a fast-moving force that could move quickly and have these guys hold position on the front line. doing pretty well so far. I haven't really taken very many casualties just yet. But I want these two regiments to kind of get in a little bit closer so I can hit that artillery with a couple of my cavalry regiments and take out that artillery. No. Okay, it says I can dismount these guys. That was weird. It didn't dismount everybody like I should have. Okay, see, now they're doing something that is very foolish, because they have their artillery, but nobody's watching their artillery. Okay? And I'm not seeing any artillery over on this flank over here. Be the left flank. I'm gonna go ahead and move my supplies up there a little bit, because they do need some artillery, or some supplies, ammunition, that kind of thing. Alright, General Jackson, it is not safe for you to be all the way back here. And so, one thing about General Jackson is General Jackson was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very efficient with his corps. You know, he was very efficient. With his corps. If that makes any sense. Alright, so now the reason why I'm doing this with 3 regiments of of cavalry is so that I can hit these guys pretty close to the same time with cavalry and do as much damage with them on all 3 batteries of artillery. Now one thing about my cavalry is I can get my cavalry to do what is known as cycle charges. But if you're going to stand there like an idiot and do what these guys are doing, then you're going to get decimated. Because that was the thing about canister fire, is canister fire was deadly. Canister fire took one of these guns and basically made it into one big shotgun, basically, for lack of a better term. And that's exactly what happened. Is, these guys would engage with canister fire and would literally wipe holes in in enemy lines, that were 50, 60 men gone, just like that. And like we have a pretty massive attack going on over there. God damn it. I wasn't paying attention. Come on, get out of there, green. Hampton's probably going to be right around this area here. So I'm going to go try to rescue him. There's Hampton. There they are. We're actually doing pretty well. Infantry was just like any army, you can't have an army without infantry. So, infantry was a staple of the Union Army, the Confederate Army. You know, it was a staple of both of those. And so, you know, it was difficult to judge an army by its size, per se. You know, because of the number of troops that it had, because there was, especially during the Civil War, because the Civil War anyway, and so there were so many men dying that it was tough to judge an army by the size, just because they had, you know, full corps of regiments didn't mean that those regiments were full size, at full strength. And so it was difficult to say about the size of the armies, because there was thousands upon thousands of men dying every single day from whatever, from battles, from wounds received in battles, from diseases, from STDs. I didn't know that until here a few weeks ago. I was reading, or I guess about a month and a half ago now. But anyway, yeah, there was STDs were rampant in both sides. But I'm going to go ahead and leave this one here, because we are at 43 minutes 58 seconds. I'm going on, 44 minutes now. So anyway, this is Maverick Gaming, and I will see you guys in the next one. Maverick Gaming 1985.